From every strand on the line of your reel, to the rods, to the anglers, to the lures on the end of your hook, let's talk about those big bass here on Co-Angler's Corner with your hosts, Rob Welch and John Stoudinger.
Good evening, everyone. I'm John.
Hi, y'all are? Cajun Rob here hanging out with you. We're having a little fun for the show begin, but we all good.
Yeah, it seems like we do that a lot, but no.
Hey, gotta have a good time, man. Gotta have a good time.
Yes. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and just want to let you know we have a special guest, Violett Talley. She comes on once a month and talks about social media, marketing, and stuff like that to try to help you get sponsors for fishing in the fishing industry or whatever kind of industry you're in. And tonight we're going to talk about social media etiquette, professionalism, and possibly get into social media and the artificial intelligence aspect of it. But without further ado, let's try to bring her on here without any issues.
How's it going?
Oh, that's an issue. There we go.
There you go. There we go. That's better.
How you doing?
Doing good. How you?
Good. It's trying to stay cool. It's been hot and humid. We've had thunderstorms and tornadoes, and I mean we need the rain, but I could deal without this humidity. I was out the other day, and I was the day before a tournament, and I was just like, oh, I got this. I got a cooler full of ice and water and everything, and I got out there, and about 2 hours in, I was like, I can't take this anymore. I'm getting lightheaded. I can't even fish effectively, so I had to come in. So unfortunately, What are you gonna do?
I heard that. But I saw you bring a big stringer in. You and your team partner had a good stringer in. Congrats on that.
Yeah, we had a couple. We had the Angler's Choice tournament. We brought in big bass, and we got 7th out of 52 teams. And a lot of those guys are good sticks. A couple of them,
wow.
A couple of them do actually more than a couple. A good handful do the opens and stuff. And so we have a really nice lake up here that takes 20 pounds to win every tournament, even in the summer.
Dang.
And mixed bags, smallmouth, largemouth, really nice, clear, deep lake that we have 45 minutes away, right over the border in Wisconsin. There's actually a couple. So that's always fun to fish, but you better know your scoping and you better know your electronics, because can't necessarily scope every fish, but you better know how to follow those fish and use those electronics, because if you don't, you can't just be hitting docks. There's really no docks or shoreline. I mean, there's docks, but you're not going to catch anything. It's all bottom contour. But anyway, and then we had a Wednesday derby where I brought in another big bass. I had a 6-pounder in the Angler's Choice one and a 5-pounder in the Wednesday night tournament. So
wow.
I did, target quality fish this year, because that big bass on Angler's Choice was a $1,200 bass. So yeah, you want big bass on that one.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So. All right, we're just going to let you take the floor because you do so well talking about marketing.
You guys can ask me some questions, something.
Well, we will.
Oh, yeah, we will. Oh, yeah.
We'll
the biggest thing right now, especially with, and we're not going to get into politics, but because of what's going on in the political reign, everybody's, all over the place on social media, and they have to be careful, especially if you want sponsors. To your high school kid, you want sponsors. You're a business and you want customers, or just anything. I mean, you got to be careful. Even if you're just looking for a job, you're just somebody who's looking for a job, on the side, because you're trying to pay for that addiction we all call fishing. And you have to be careful what's on your social media. People use that as a background check now.
Oh yeah.
And, they troll you, and they will troll you for a long time, and they'll go through your entire social media, all your social media, before they even talk to you. And they will get a good idea of who you are based on what you post, what you like, because we can see all your likes, we can see your friends and what they like and things like that. So you have to be careful when it comes down to etiquette, especially, sponsors or whatnot. Yeah, it's good to stand up for what you believe in, but it's a public platform and people get fired, people get arrested. There's all kinds of stuff that can happen based on what is on your social media profile. And I knew this from the get-go. So before anybody even looked at your social media to do any type of background check on you. When Facebook came out and Instagram, before even, I should just say Facebook, or actually, what was the first one? Was it MySpace?
MySpace, yep.
Yeah. When that came out, I was very careful. I mean, I think I learned from the beginning just to have this professional mindset or attitude when I'm out in the public. It could be also my upbringing. My mom always said, even when you're in the house, you should be dressed comfortably, because God forbid there should be a fire or an emergency and you got to run out of the house. What are you going to do? Run out in a robe or something? She was very you got to be always proper and professional, and people might think that's crazy, but it's I'm not going to be walking around in something that I wouldn't want, in case somebody walked in the door, you had guests at the last minute. Sometimes there's no chance. Run in the bedroom and hurry up and get dressed. So I got used to having that professionalism all the time. So when social media started, I made sure I kept it clean and I kept it positive. And that has made such a difference on relationships with people, on sponsorships, jobs, unbelievable. Customers, you're going to love this. So I have kept it so clean, I've never had an issue. And a lot of times you won't know that you have an issue. They won't tell you. They'll just be like, okay, no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. We'll consider you for another job, or thanks for your consideration. You won't know why. And that's, jobs or whatnot. Same thing with sponsorships. You think you're the perfect person for the sponsorship deal, and they don't call you back. Then you don't get it. They're like, well, I wonder what's wrong with me. I'm fully qualified, and they would be, it would be a value to their team, and you don't know why, and you probably won't know why. But really, they're looking at your social media. And I had posted one thing. I never posted anything political. I posted one thing. It really wasn't. Well, it wasn't kind of political. It was a product I made. It had something on it. It was a drink coaster. I make drink coasters on the side with scrap wood that I have, because I have a laser cutting and engraving business, for those people who don't know. And I put something on the coaster, and it was clean, but it was some letters. Not going to get into it. Very clean, whatever. But it steered one way politically than another. I was going on a duck hunt with a couple of gals of mine, and the one girl was setting it up, and she said, hey, we're going to send you Facebook invites to do this. It's a guided duck hunt. And it's an all gals thing. And I guess we were all excited about it. We were going to go. And the one gal said, well, I'm sorry, but Violett can't go. And my one girlfriend who was setting it up, she said, well, why not? She goes, well, I just don't feel like she's a good fit having her in the blind with us. I think it's dangerous. And I said, what? And so when my one friend found out, she says, oh, it was that thing you posted, that product that you posted, because it steered one way politically. And again, it was very clean. It wasn't anything bad.
Right.
And because she didn't like the way I was going, she knew my political preference. But in that one tiny little post, I was not invited to this duck hunt. She didn't know me. She knew nothing about me. And after my friend found that out, she goes, well, you know what? None of us want to go if she's going to be like that, And that's not just girls being girls. It's just, it happens. It happens all the time. So you have to be careful what you put on your social media. The smallest things, those things can steer somebody's mind. And you're probably thinking, well, then I wouldn't want to deal with them anyway. You'd be surprised at how many bigger companies, they don't want to deal with political stuff. They don't want hassles. They don't want problems. There's plenty of people in line to get on a sponsorship team or whatnot that are clean cut, professional, that they don't want to have to deal with any problems down the road. And that is a red flag if you put anything like that on your social media. And like I said, there's plenty of people in line who don't need to state things or swing one way or another. And that sometimes insinuates a certain type of personality, and they make all these affirmations about who you are based on what you're, it's crazy, but it's real. It's real.
Oh yeah, it is.
So keep your social media clean. I mean, I know sharing something's funny or whatnot, your friend posts something, that's fine, understandable, but you probably don't want other people posting on your page anyway, or tagging you doing something, or whatnot. Even your personal pages. I mean, your personal Facebook and your business Facebook are two different things. You should be posting personal stuff on your personal Facebook, not your ads, not anything to do with your business. But on your business is where you keep your business stuff. But both of them still need to be clean. No matter if they're going to go look for your personal one, that's going to come up first. But that's a big issue. And I'll be honest with you, 99% of people do not follow that rule, and you have no idea how much it hurts you. It really does. I mean, it's a great place to stand up for something, but that's not the place to do it. Unfortunately.
I remember years ago, my wife said, John, you shouldn't post that. I'm like, why? She goes, everybody can see it. I'm like, okay. It was a whole Colin Kaepernick kneeling for the flag thing. I'm not afraid to admit it. And I was completely against that,
Sure.
being, and she goes, well, people are going to look at that and think you're one way or another way and stuff like that. So when I did that, I ended up, a bunch of people started putting that stuff on my main page,
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up like getting rid of that page because 98% of that stuff it turned in political.
Mm-hmm.
So
once you start something, it's just, it doesn't matter which way you try to put it. You can make it positive. Somebody's going to get on there. I mean, you're not going to change their mind either way. All you're going to do is just start a heated debate. And there's nothing wrong. You could keep it up there. That's what you believe in. That's great. But just know that there will be repercussions. And if you don't care, you don't care. That's fine. That's your spot. You can do what you want. Technically social media is meant to be a place where we can all share ideas and whatnot. And it should be a place where we can all, professionally and with good etiquette, be able to debate things and whatnot. But that's not how the world works.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to social media, it should be fine. But the problem is you got companies and people and everybody making judgment on you before they even know you based on your social media, and I know there are some people who post some stuff where, I'm like, you're such a nice person, all this other stuff, but this sounds very negative. This doesn't sound like it's you. It's what I believe in and blah, blah. I said, yeah, but then you got to be careful who's looking at it. Cause like you said, everybody can see it's public, and unfortunately with social media, there's all kinds of stuff behind it. They're going to know your name, your age, where you live, all that stuff. And so you have to be careful because that stuff compiles over time. And
right.
Facebook keeps that on record for a reason because it's all about advertising. They want to steer the best ads to you. So if they know your age, they know where you live, they know what you're like, they know who your friends are, then they can send you the best ads for the items that they think you're going to definitely buy. That's why you see those ads pop up that you're like, oh, I was just talking about that. Yeah, because you were sending somebody a post on it. That's why.
Oh, yeah.
And smart marketing. It really is. I mean, I don't want to see ads for, something that I'm not going to use or never use. Like I don't want to see a tennis racket when I don't play tennis. I want to see fishing stuff. So obviously I post fishing stuff. I see fishing stuff, which is great. Because sometimes like, oh, you know what? I do need to pick up some of those. And I might buy it,
Now, I wouldn't mind a tennis racket because we have bats around here. And they're great for getting bats.
You're missing the point.
I miss a lot of things,
That's all right.
But I understand exactly what you're saying. It's basically target marketing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And thanks, Pam. I appreciate it. Thanks for the comment. I love Pam. She's like, I shouldn't say she's a fan. I mean, she's a fellow female angler, but she's great. It's great support.
Awesome.
Yeah. Barking Rulers says, "What's up? Hey, missed you last night."
Yep.
Oh, you made it to Georgia.
You did your homework.
Oh, he's sponsored by me.
Yep.
Right. Wait a minute. Andrew Gilliam says, "Hey guys." Hey Pam.
How's it going?
Pam's a favorite of ours.
Yep. But what do you say about Facebook? Because I know a guy, kind of a friend of a friend in North Carolina. He went on a camping trip and he went on about his boss, come back, and he was fired. So you're spot on that. I've known that actually happened to somebody.
Yeah, I mean, and then you say they can't fire. They can fire you for anything.
Oh, yeah.
You can make up anything.
They don't have to have a reason.
Right.
You can walk in one day and the boss says you're fired. And if they don't give you a reason, that's fine. But if they give you a reason and it's not a justifiable reason, that's when you can go after them.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Along the same lines as I used to be heavily involved with youth exchange through the Rotary. Mm-hmm. And in their contract, it says no alcohol, no smoking. Well, United States, the age is 21 to drink. Europe is 18.
Right.
So if you send an 18-year-old over there who's drinking and throwing stuff on social media, they're voiding their contract.
Absolutely.
So we ended up bringing them home early. That was an expensive 1 month trip for that kid.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Big Brother's always watching. Unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
Social media is a way. I mean, social media is very powerful in a positive way, and it's very powerful in a negative way. It's just which one do you choose to be a part of? And unfortunately, people don't understand the repercussions in the kind of world we live in. I mean, everybody's got a cell phone on them. At any minute in time, you can be videotaped, and even a good Samaritan can turn into a demon. I mean, it all depends on what you're doing, how you're doing, how somebody perceives it. And that's a scary thing because you could be a good person and do good things, and then somebody could twist it and turn it around with the wrong context in a video. I mean, so it's a difficult world in social media and whatnot and media. And then if AI is not making it any easier, I mean, it's making it easier in a form of like cutting down your workload based on what you want to use AI for, but can also be misleading because a lot of people, they don't even know when they're being scammed by scams that I would look at and say, oh my, that's totally a scam. But somebody else would be like, well, I had no idea, you know? And now with AI, the photos and the videos that are coming out, it's almost impossible to distinguish what's real and what's not. I can most of the stuff I can kind of tell it's not because, you know, I'm also a digital artist. I do digital video and photos, so I know. But some of the stuff I'm like, I got to look closer. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have to do some research because that doesn't look right. And you don't know because I think what we're in an age of not everybody needs to get out the truth. They want to be first.
Yeah.
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily have to be the truth. They just want to be first with the information. And if it's wrong, oh, well, they'll just apologize later or not apologize. But it's not necessarily the truth that comes out first. You have to be careful.
Yeah.
Hello, hey, Jeremy. Just like with Aaron Martins, right before he passed, MLF put out something that he had passed, and it was a couple days ahead of time. And, you know, was it a mistake on their part? Was it wanting to be first?
Yeah.
You know, who
That's
knows?
the hard part. Wanting to be first can do a lot of things. I mean, it can be life-threatening in some situations. It could be it's not necessarily the way to go just because you're first. But the problem is it centers around money. I mean, it's all about attention. Who's the first one to do this? The first one to do that? You know, it's all about that. And that's the person who gets the most attention. When you get attention, you get eyes on you. When you get eyes on you, you sell. And that's what it's all a part of. Yeah.
Yeah. Barking Uber says John threatened to put me in an AI video. He said he was going to actually show me with a fish. He said the game game warden would never believe it.
Oh my God.
Oh man. That's
hey
pretty
Al
good.
with Make American Anger Outdoors. We appreciate you, buddy.
Yep.
Jeremy May wants to know if you're from Wisconsin.
Me?
Are you from
Close
Wisconsin?
I'm pretty close, but no, I'm in Northern Illinois. I'm actually in from South Elgin, which is just 45 miles northwest out of Chicago. My business and my boat's in McHenry. That's where I usually fish, and that's probably maybe 20 minutes south of Wisconsin border. So I'm pretty close. And you know, I'm from Chicago. Everything's in minutes, not miles. That's how I do things. Minutes.
Oh yeah.
20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. Everything's an hour. It's an hour.
Yeah.
I said the same thing. Like for me, Rochester is an hour. Syracuse is an hour. So
miles. What is this miles thing? I don't know what miles are.
It's funny because Eddie Carper, he came over for a weekend to fish, and he said, I traveled so many miles. I'm like, well, how long did it take you?
Yeah. Yeah, miles. What does that mean?
Yeah. So where do you think AI is? I mean, do you think AI is going to get into the electronics game?
Absolutely. 100%. I don't know how. I mean, it's already there. I mean, AI is not truly AI. Artificial intelligence is technically intelligence that creates from pretty much nothing. It makes its own idea. But like any idea, so it is and it isn't. Any idea is just based on another idea, if you really think about it. So any idea is really just an improvement of an idea. It's based on other ideas to create a new idea. It's ideas on ideas, right? So anything that anybody creates is usually, you know, inspired by or motivated by or whatnot. So it's always based on something. It's nothing. unless you're not really reinventing the wheel, you're just making a better one, right? AI kind of does the same thing. So it's taking, the reason why AI is out is for two reasons. We have an unlimited, almost unlimited source of data right now on the internet. I mean, anything and everything's on the internet, and then some stuff that we couldn't believe. I mean, there's so much data that's being held on the internet about everything, about everyone. And it's stored, because in the past we couldn't do that. We didn't have the storage capacity. Now we do. So all that stuff is stored. And now we have the technology with NVIDIA and the new chips that have come out to be able to process that data lightning fast, like unbelievably fast at a nano level. So we've had all this data before, and we've had technology. It just wasn't fast enough, and it couldn't sift through it fast enough. What AI now does, it's just basically a program that says, I'm going to find all this stuff and create your idea based on all the stuff I already have. So it's just a computer processor taking everything, into consideration and making something out of it. So it's kind of making something new, but not really. It's just combining a bunch of stuff and making you something that you think you've never seen. But you'd be surprised, some of the AI out there just searches the internet really fast and gives you something that's probably not been circulated around the internet yet. Some of the AI does do that. So it's basically an idea that's somewhere on the internet. So you have to be careful, because some of the AI that's generated is actually copyright. The better AI, the stuff that a lot of us don't have access to, will actually create something new, pulling from sources. So if I want a picture of a fluffy white cat on a red couch, I could tell AI to do that, and it'll make it. But it will take pictures of images that are that same style of art, put those together, grab the couch from another image, blah, 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 whatever, add the shading, whatever. So it grabs stuff from other places to create something. So it is AI, but it's not AI. It's not like it's completely creating something from scratch. It's grabbing from the internet and then taking pieces of that to make you something new.
Ah, gotcha.
So I could actually say, hey, to AI, show barking Rugers with a spinning rod and 4-pound test catching a 2-pound smallie.
You can now but here's the thing, it won't be able to do it because it can't find his photo unless his photo's somewhere online that's got a name tied to his photo, and it's got to search through all that and then grab the fishing rod. It can do it, but a lot of the sources that we have can't. It's not without difficulty, because again, it's got to be able to identify. Everything has to be identifiable. Like, it doesn't know who he is, because because there's a picture of him, there has to be a name associated with him, and there could be 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
Right. And put those all together. But I mean, you could, like, I have Chat GPT on my phone, and I could tell it the best thing is when you need it to write stuff for you. I'll be like, describe this product for me. Like, say I don't want to write a product description. I'll be like, describe this product made out of this, that's this size, blah, blah, blah. Describe the product to it. That's what I do. I want you to write me an Instagram sales ad for it with only 4 sentences, and it'll do it like that. And it's beautiful.
Oh.
It's perfect. So it makes your job easier. You can use it to write social media posts. You post a photo and you'll say, Chat GPT, describe this photo in 3 sentences, and it'll do that for you. And it helps people work faster. It gives them a place to start. It's like a starting point and some people use it completely to rely on to do their work, but you have to obviously proofread it, because it's grabbing stuff on the internet. And some of the stuff is kind of crazy depending on what program you use. The best ones are the paid ones. I mean, you can use ChatGPT is really one of the best ones out there, but everything's AI driven now because everybody's got the technology. I don't know if you guys noticed, but as soon as AI was announced, all of a sudden, why did everybody all of a sudden have it? Yep. If one company created, why is it everywhere now? Because everybody just needed the technology and the program, the software base, and anybody can get it. So, but like everybody's got now, but it will take over electronics. As far as fishing, I'm not sure, but as far as, product testing, product innovation, products marketing, any type of social media posts online, customer service is being taken over by AI. Virtual assistants are now all AI. It's amazing, because you think it's a real person and it's not. And you think you're like, oh, wow, a great customer service person said they're going to follow up, send me an email, and you'll get an email from that so-and-so person, but it's really an AI bot, and you have no idea. And all the companies are doing it because it helps them with manpower. They don't have to spend as much, and they can get twice as much done.
Sure. Jeremy May says, I can't wait for AI to take over my social media because it's time consuming.
Well, it can't really take it. It can't really take it over. You still have to tell it what to do. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Is it's just like a social media, like having a real person.
Yeah.
Except the AI doesn't have common sense. That's the hard part right now. So you still have to check it over. Yeah. You have to check it over, and you still have to. So it's still work. There's no social media that's. I'm dealing with this right now with a gentleman who wants to do one for one of his business, and he knows what it entails. But I told him, I said, you got to post like every day and do video and photos. And he's like, well, I'm a one-man operation with an assistant, and how are we supposed to work and get all the content? I said, well, then you hire somebody. Well, that's expensive. I said, well, yeah, it's like a catch-22.
Yeah.
You spend money to make money. And so I'm like, hire a kid and take him on as an intern. Maybe he can go fishing with you and do the social media content, but you still got to post it. And it's like, oh, I was trying to avoid that. I'm like, well, you can't really avoid it. You're still going to have to do some work.
Yeah, there are some
Absolutely.
ways. I mean, they do have things now that, like one that I looked up is Metricool, which will allow you to post to all the social media platforms.
Sure.
However, you can't do the hashtags and the whatnots and all that stuff for it.
Yeah.
If you want to. But if you just want to put a general post out there, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Al with the American Angler Outdoor says he uses AI to help rewrite content.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
He wants to know how Jeremy is. So,
well, got a good question from Miss Pam Horn, real quick.
Yeah, she says, I'm actively looking for partnerships for 2025 locally. The trouble I'm having is our local surrounding communities are so involved in helping events in the fishing industry that they will not do individual partnerships. What can I do to stand out as an individual that will get them to consider differently?
Okay. So involved in helping in events in the fishing, but they don't do individual partnerships. Yeah, individual partnerships are hard. That is, and it depends on who the company is or the partnership that you're trying to do, because usually you want to look for somebody who's a little bit bigger that's willing to do stuff individually. But the only thing I do is just get involved into more stuff. I mean, one of the things that I do is I do a lot more seminars. I try to do a lot more events and seminars to get myself out there and in front of people so that what happens is people look at me as like the leader, kind of like a leader position. So what happens is when you identify yourself as a leader or you're in that role where people look to you and you got more and more people looking to you, and then everybody can say, well, Violett's got the answer. Go to Violett. Violett knows this. Violett knows that. Then eventually they're going to come to you and say, okay, you're valuable enough now because obviously everybody else is looking to you. So we'd like to own you, kind of a thing, so that they're coming to you when you come to us and you're selling our product, that kind of a thing. So that's kind of what I'm kind of doing in my, I can't go nationally right now. I don't have the resources, the time, or the money to go nationally on a lot of the events that I do. So I do a lot of locally or regional stuff. And the more I do, the more I'm at the top of the list, or start to climb that list to where people are going to say the best person to talk to, or the best person to have do this, or the best person is Violett. And then the companies turn around and look at me and say, well, then we got to talk to Violett because obviously everybody's talking about her. And that's what happens is then instead of them just dealing with a whole, a group, they're going to say, well, the one that stands out in the group is Violett because everybody's talking about her. So we want Violett. And that's what's going to happen. That's probably the best thing if that's what she's talking about. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Jeremy said he's doing good. He's just here supporting friends, and he also says AI is grocery shopping and delivery food to tables at restaurants.
Yeah, I heard about that too. They
Wow.
have bots and stuff, and yeah, I can do it. The problem is AI can only do that if the foundation is there. So like the grocery shopping will only happen if there's a bot that can read particular labels and all the labels are on correctly and all the prices are correct and the product is exactly where it's supposed to be. You tell me that's not happening in grocery stores right now. There's product that shouldn't be there. It's mislabeled, blah, 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 So the only way AI is going to work is if the foundation's there. So everything's got to be perfect. Everything's got to be lined up. The labels have to be accurate. So somebody's got to be doing that. And then the bot can go around and be able to read everything. It's no different than like a Tesla car that's running itself on the road. There's glitches. If it gets to a road where there's no lines or it doesn't know what to do, it won't go any further. but they continue to program that into it. So yeah, eventually it will evolve, but the foundation is quite not there for it to be implemented everywhere. It's very, very specific locations or very specific instances. We are at least 20 years away from like AI being half the market for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the only place that I've seen it work successfully at as far as something like that would be in a warehouse.
Yeah. Amazon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
One of the examples.
You know, my brother Jeremy says John doesn't have common sense, so it's no different. But
he still loves you.
Parking Ruger says the danger to any assistance, whether AI or intern, is complacency. It's 100% on you to proof your releases before they become public.
Absolutely.
Yep.
AI can only replace one facet of what you're doing. There's 10 facets of it. It might have replaced 1 or 2 or 3, but you're still responsible for the other 7. So it'll make your job easier, but you got to also understand is you have to program AI in the beginning so that it does what you want it to do right off the bat, or else it's not going to do it. And then the problem with AI is it's constantly evolving. You have to constantly be updating. I mean, it's going to make your job a little easier, but you got to figure out what's worth it to you. Right. So, but AI, like for social media, I mean, there's not quite there. Social media is on the back end. It's what we're seeing that's being given to us, not so much that we are using to put out there yet. I mean, yeah, I can write your content, which is great. If you want to do a resume or you like your fishing resume, which I have to update mine. And AI is one of those things you want to say, okay, here's all my attributes. Please write a paragraph with this. And I'm going to proof because I want it to sound like me too. Correct. I don't want something that doesn't sound like me. But I want it, but there might use a couple adjectives that I didn't even think about, or I'm just so busy doing this and this and this. Yeah, it's great to add a little bit of a shortcut or add some variety to what you're doing, but don't get complacency and let it take over, because then it's not you anymore. And then if we all sounded like that, there's no individuality. So then, why would somebody look to partner with you?
Correct.
Absolutely.
Oh. What's next, Rob? Oh, Parking Grugers. I think you're touching on one of the biggies in the fishing industry. Fishing is the small part of what you have to do. You're a brand, a personality, an educator, and an entertainer. And he's right. I mean,
absolutely.
You've seen it with like the Guggen Squad. They didn't make their money fishing.
No.
I mean, tournament wise, they didn't make their money tournament wise.
Right.
And you don't. And that's some of the things that fishermen or tournament anglers are having an issue with, is because you don't have to be a tournament angler to sell product anymore.
I mean, no, you don't. But you know what I got to tell you, when you start to go up the ranks, the attention's on you. So a lot of the guys who are profiting now, like guys who are doing old, what I'm going to call the OGs, who won 20 years ago, they're winning and stuff. And they got good titles, good names or whatnot. Now some of them are doing, very few of them are able to do this, but they're coming back and they're saying, okay, I'm going to take that popularity and I'm going to build a business around it, because they still have a name, they still have popularity, but they still got to keep winning. They still have to get to the tournaments and do well. And when they stop doing well is when you stop hearing about them. And everybody's like, oh, who's that guy? Oh, where's he been? What's he been doing? He hasn't won anything in how many years? That's what you're still going to get that, because then why should you use their product if you're not winning with it? Why should I use that rod and reel that you're using when you're not doing anything with it? So that's what goes through people's minds unconsciously. And so you still have to do well in the tournaments. And when you do well, and you get that little bit of attention, you got to capitalize on it, and you got to capitalize on it quick. So make a bunch of posts and talk all about it. And then right away, talk about one of your sponsors, because you're hot and you want people to see that, because the next week somebody else is winning. Yep. So you have to be careful about that. So, but yeah, you do have to be the angler of the year. Do you have to be the Bassmaster Classic champion? No, and do you have to win? No, you can cash a check as long as your name's up there in the rank somewhere. You still have to be able to do something, because even though I do seminars, I do a lot of seminars. And I enjoy doing them, and and a lot of people do pay me to do seminars. But I wouldn't be called to do a seminar if I wasn't doing something, in fishing. I just did a TV show for Midwest Outdoors magazine, and it just aired the other day. I didn't even know it. And it's in like 13 states. I mean, on like 5 different channels. I had somebody call me and say, hey, wow, we were really impressed with what you were doing on this lake on Midwest Outdoors TV, and you were explaining forward-facing sonar. We'd like you to come in and do a talk with us with Walleyes Unlimited. So I have to do something. I have to show that I'm doing something well. But do I have to necessarily be winning every week? No. But you got to be. That's the hard part. So I have to do all this other stuff in fishing to make money, plus do well in fishing itself. When most guys, you know how hard it is to go out there. I went out at 5:00 this morning. I was up. I came in. I worked for a couple hours. I went out and fished all day. I came in at, what time is it? It's almost 7:30 here. I came in around 5:00. I worked, and now I'm doing a podcast. And I didn't get enough fishing time in because I need to practice, and I didn't find the fish I needed. I found some, but I'm like, I'm out of time. I got to do this and this. I got to make money. I got to do a seminar. I got to do a podcast. I haven't done any social media today. And then I still have to fish, and I still have to do well fishing. So how do you do well fishing if you don't have time to fish?
Yeah.
You're doing all the other stuff to make your money so you can fish.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's catch-22. It's catch-22.
But
Everything is. And
yeah, go ahead.
Jeremy says, well, if they spend the money and have an AI, I'm certain there's organizations to be behind the scenes. My brother works for Google, and I think there's some misunderstanding how involved the general public thinks it works. I was surprised to know it's not as deceptive as most people or general people think.
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. It's not as deceptive as you think, because they hear AI, artificial intelligence. What do we think? We think the horror movies, Terminator, all that. That's what we're thinking. That's where the things are going to take over. No, they can't take over because we're in control of them, because they wouldn't be able to get anywhere without the knowledge that we provide them. And they can only go so far. I still have to give it directions on what to do, and half the time it gets it wrong. So, but anyway.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like
cool. I mean, you guys ever get a chance? ChatGPT is free. You can download it as an app on your phone for both Android and iPhone. And it's sometimes you can just have a lot of fun with it. Like me and my friends will text back and forth, and we'll say something, and they'll describe something, and I'm like, oh, that'd be so cool if I actually had a photo of that. And I'll say, ChatGPT, give me a photo of blah, 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 blah. And it'll generate it in 30 seconds. And I send it back to them, and they're laughing hysterically. And it's, it's fun stuff. Or if you want to generate something on social media, like I wanted to do a nice 4th of July thing, I can tell it, hey, instead of me going around and stealing somebody else's 4th of July thing, I want to create my own, but I don't have time to sit there. I'll say, ChatGPT, can you make me a square image of the flag with some fireworks behind it on a night sky with the bass fish holding a flag in his mouth? It will do that for you. And it'll look
wow.
You can say Happy 4th of July, everybody, and nobody else will have that because I generated it from chat. So I'm technically making it.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
A while ago, I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
When ChatGPT I shouldn't say first came out. It was out about a couple months. And he was talking about it. So, of course, I'm driving to work. I pull over, I download it, and then I get in the parking lot at work, and I say, please describe a Texas rig in fishing for bass fishing. And it came up with exactly what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Right.
So,
and just think about, if you're about to make a quick 2-minute tip on how to, do a Texas rig, because there are a lot of people still don't know. You're like, well, gosh, what are all the things I have to tell them about? Well, you tell Jet, you know how to do a Texas rig, but maybe you don't know how to put it in such a way that people would understand. You tell ChatGPT, hey, can you do this for me? And you're like, oh, there are all the key points. Now I'll say those key points. So it's like it made the little presentation for you. So there's so many ways you can use it. You're not cheating. You're just being more efficient with your time. And because you still have to know what you're talking about.
Correct. And Al with the American Angler Outdoors Network says Darrell Waltrip said it best when he won the Cup. It's not how many races you win; it's how consistent you are.
Yes,
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100. Once you stop, you're out of sight, out of mind. You have to keep going. You have to keep doing better, keep improving. Every time I think I'm not doing, I finish out the year well, and I'm thinking, oh, this year's starting out hard. And then by the end of the year, I'm like, you know what? I did better than last year. And that's the goal. Do better than last time. Do better than last time. And even if you don't, that's okay. Do better than last time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jeremy says, but if you pay for ChatGPT, you can really get involved and it'll make a difference.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I have the paid version. It's ridiculous but you got it. Again, I got it because I wanted to play with it and show people how to use it. But the applications are endless, and my mind is just exploding with all the ideas I could use this for, but I don't have time. And I wish I could sit here and like I can tell it to create. I mean, I had ChatGPT create a logo for me that says I want no copyrighted stuff in this, but I want something that had to, like, for a client that shows something of the San Francisco 49ers. I was doing a football thing, but I can't use San Francisco 49ers because that's a copyrighted logo. But I said, but I want something that's inspired by their logo and their theme, and it made the most incredible design. And I go, okay, now this feels like it's cheating. Because it looks like San Francisco 49ers, but it's not the logo.
Yep.
But it looks like them, but it's not the copyright. So it's kind of scary because somebody can then take your idea and say, well, ChatGPT, see this image of that this person did? I want you to give me something just like it, but not so it can be copyright violation, and it will do it. That's the bad part of it. So it can go both ways.
So basically what you're saying is Jeremy says he's been trying to create John and Rob verbals to see how far I can go.
Oh Lord, help you.
So what you're saying is ChatGPT is the computerized version of forward-facing sonar.
Yeah, pretty much. If you want to say it that way, yeah, because forward-facing sonar doesn't guarantee fish jumping in the boat.
No,
You'll have to know how to use it. It can be complex. Yeah, makes sense. That's a good analogy. I like it.
Only flying can guarantee fish in the boat.
Now, if you could put ChatGPT into your forward-facing sonar, then what happens?
Then you're disqualified for cheating. How do we pull this back to? No, we covered social media. We covered AI.
Social media etiquette and AI. Professionalism. That's a big. I mean, it's so simple with the etiquette. I mean, just keep it clean. And if you can go back, I mean, if some of you are kind of worried, go back, delete that stuff. I mean, it's because they say once you put something on the internet never gets off the internet. But as long as you get off your social media, some people will delete their entire profile altogether, and you can do that too and start from scratch. Yes,
I did.
You have a question?
No, I was just saying I did. I deleted my whole profile.
You deleted everything. But you have to be careful of that too, because that's also, like I said, that shows your history. Because for instance, on social media, if you want to get better followers or more followers or better sponsorships, you have to have stuff in your social media that they can look in the history. Like for instance, if I post something and say, okay, I want to get more followers. What's a way to get more followers? So what I'll probably do is I'll say, I'd like more followers. Missile Baits sponsors me. Okay. Missile Baits. There it is. Missile Baits. They sponsor me. They have 100,000 followers. Okay. So how can I tap it? I could say, hey, Missile, can you do me a favor? If I do a really nice video on your jigs, will you post my video on your social media platform? And they'll say, sure. Yeah, we'll do that. But make sure it's a nice video, whatever. So I'll post it. Now they're going to say, well, they're going to go through my social media and make sure my social media is clean. Because what's going to happen is they're going to say Violett at Talley, and it's going to be a link, a tag, talks about the missile jig and how it cashed her checks this past year, blah, blah. People will see that video on theirs. They're going to click on my name because they're like, well, who's this chick? Who is she? And they're going to see all my social media.
Yep.
So it better be clean, because if it ain't clean, Missile Jigs will not put my video up.
Yep.
If it is clean, that's great. But then you want the people to follow you. If you want them to click on and say, hey, you know what? I'll follow her. That's a quick way to get a lot of followers and good followers. But if there's nothing on your social media, no history, they're going to be like, why am I following her? She has nothing. They'll just look at it and come out. Yeah. So you have to have history and good history. And that's not something you could just fudge. So start now. If you haven't started, get some good, clean stuff on there. That's why you got to post often and regularly, because when people go click on your name, whether or not they decide to subscribe and follow you depends on everything they see in the history. And if it's all good, clean stuff, they're going to say, well, this they're putting stuff out. I'm going to follow them. I want to see what else they got coming. So that's what you got to do.
Jeremy wants to know, how do you handle waves up in the northern waters? Do you prefer a seat as a co-angler or a free stand?
Well, I'm a boater, and I don't even use a seat, because every time I use a seat, I go to set a fish or set the hook on a fish or move. I hit that seat, it twirls me around. I feel like I want to go in the water. And I got that Skeeter FXR 21, so it's got a huge front deck on it. So just plant your feet. And we just had that the other day. We had boat traffic. We had high winds. And I think, I'm a little more athletic. So if I start using that seat, I get very complacent, and then it turns into a crutch. So when I don't have the seat, I feel like I can't stand on the deck. So I don't do the seat at all whatsoever. My co-anglers, absolutely. I got to put the seat in them for all the time. They hang on to it for dear life.
Like me, I'm a co-angler.
Yeah.
And when I talk to my boater, I'm like, one of the first things I try to tell them is I don't need a seat.
Yeah. If I'm in the back of the boat, I don't use a seat either.
Only because like if it gets that rough, I can go down in the gunwale stand.
Exactly. Go down and yeah.
I don't want to set the hook and wave come from one side, the other, me hit the seat and end up in the drink. No.
I've actually I did Sturgeon Bay in 40-mile-per-hour winds during this. They had a tournament before the Sturgeon Bay Open. They had an MLF style tournament, but it was a team tournament. I was literally on my knees. I was on the back deck because it was so bad, but the fishing was so good. Just throwing them out in the waves and doing like a drift trolling type thing. It was 4.5, 5 pounders every other cast. I mean, how could you pass that up? So I'm like, I can't stand. I'm kneeling, and the guy in front put his pedestal all the way down to where he was literally like a crouch seat, and he was casting. It was great until his bilge pump went out, and then we were gone. We had to leave. Ooh. Yeah, because 40-mile-an-hour winds. I mean, you couldn't even get on plane when your nose was just straight up in the air. And thank God, hopefully you didn't, and you couldn't go fast enough to spear a wave. But yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, but you need the room on the deck so you can move, you can plant your feet, what do you ever, and yeah, if it gets really bad, you just step down. That's all you can do.
Yep.
Yeah. Barking Grooves wants to know what's the most fun project you've worked on lately?
The most fun project I've, actually the most fun thing I did lately was that Midwest Outdoors TV show, because we had such a good, so I had done 3 shows, 2 were fails because we went out in the fall, and because the way the shooting schedules were, they couldn't give me like 2 days back to back. They had to do one day in August and 1 day in October, and I'm like, total different conditions, Yep. And at that time of the year, we're going to that fall fishing around here, which with the water level we had last year was terrible. So with terrible fishing, so we had the camera guys out and everything. Couldn't catch anything. They couldn't catch anything. I was putting rods in everybody's hand, like, somebody catch something. We couldn't catch something. And just to see, I'm like, I'm not going crazy. And the fish are there and they're not biting. Did it again. Terrible weather rolled in. So I'm like, oh, this is horrible. So they were like, well, we got to do it again this year. I actually got to do 2 shows this year. And we did the show, and I'm just praying this whole time, like, oh gosh, I hope the weather's good. I hope there's fish. Or there's just so many factors. I mean, you can't, I don't know how charter guys do it, like guides and stuff, like constantly produce. And we're out there, and it was just one after 5-pounder, 4-pounder, and top frogs. I was doing deep water, so I was able to showcase everything. I did top water because I'm good at top water. I'm really getting good at the deep water fishing. I mean, I just kind of scratching the surface, but using my electronics and doing the deeper water 20+ fishing out here, which is unheard of. We don't do a lot. We have a lot of shallow lakes, but you can find some of the deeper lakes. You can tap those fish that aren't tapped, and there's some big fish out there. So we did everything that episode and had such a good time. And then, of course, it airs and you get phone calls. It's kind of nice. It's like, I saw you on TV. Hey, what are you doing? I'm like,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's nice. And then, but the whole thing is because, I've been doing this stuff for such a long time locally, and the local people are like big fans. I have big fans around here. It's just, it's nice when you get a little bit more recognition that's outside of the general area. Because, you go to anywhere else, like some of these bigger shows, like, who is this person? I'm doing a seminar in Indianapolis. It ain't that far. Like, who is this person? Like, what are you going to do? But you got to start building your rapport somehow. And it was fun to film. And it's funny because the camera guy says, wow, you're natural. Do you do camera stuff all the time? I'm like, this is my first time, but it really was. So it was fun.
Yeah. Jeremy says he got smart after Oneida Lake. He stays south of the Mason-Dixon line.
Oh, no. We have some great smallmouth up here. I got some good smallmouth today.
Well,
he for
fun. He just had an issue because he wasn't used to the 6-footers.
Oh, there's not always 6-footers, and just
no.
Wear rain gear, you'll be fine.
No, he won't.
Wear some rain gear. Make sure your bilge pumps are working. Keep the nose up. You're good.
So, Alvin with the American Angler Outdoors wants to know what's the best way to contact a potential advertiser, email or a phone call?
Emails get lost, I would say. Phone calls, I would do a phone call because nowadays it's funny how things are going. before nobody wanted a phone call, nobody wants to talk, or nobody wants confrontation. It's starting to go back now.
Yeah.
So now it's more of like everything used to be like personalized, handshake, phone call, whatever. Then everybody was voicemail, text messaging, emails. Now all that is so super saturated, it's starting to go backwards. Everything's now back to personalized and custom and handshake. But here's the thing is you might have to call them over and over again. They may not answer your call. You know, a lot of times I'll do all of it. I'll send an email, follow up with a phone call, and do a text. Some people are weird. The whole text phone call thing is kind of funny because a lot of people, especially more traditional people, don't feel like a text is very professional and understandable. Absolutely. I usually do a phone call and then a text. And a lot of times I'll get a reply to the text. You can do an email as well, especially if the email is to like a corporate email. Then that's a good sign and that email will not get lost. But if it's to a personal email, a lot of times those get lost. Or social media. If you have that person's social media, direct message them. That's another good way is direct messaging because a lot of people are really paying attention to their direct messages on social media because you don't get too many of those. You don't, I mean, if there's spam, everybody knows what that spam usually looks like. But when it comes to direct messaging, unless it's somebody you really know, they're texting you. But if it's a direct message, it's usually some sort of a business accomplice or something like that. So, but I would I would definitely do the phone call. I know a lot of people are afraid of talking on the phone directly to a person. But don't do a text without following up with doing a phone call. That text is only a follow-up. Email and then a direct message. So I would handle all of them, I should say.
Yep.
I know about 95% of my contact for our podcast is direct message.
Yeah.
Yep.
Probably because you're posting on social media. So so they will usually contact you where they see it. So if it's on the internet, it's an email. If you see it's on social media, they'll do a direct message. That's just how it is. Rarely are there phone numbers. People think phones are just so sacred or they don't like confrontation anymore. Some people are just too sensitive nowadays. I don't know.
What's funny, I run in the opposite. I work in sales, and I got some old customers, don't have a computer, don't have a fax, all they got is a phone. So you got to kind of get a feel for your customer. I mean, I got some customers that speak some English, not so much. They tend to more like text and email. So everybody's different. You got to get kind of a feel on what they like.
Just hit them all, but definitely phone call is first because it is the most professional.
Yep.
Your text is just a follow up. Hey, I tried to reach you on the phone, got your voicemail. Just want you to know that blah, blah. I'm just trying to reach you. Here's my number. Here's my information. That's a good way to have information. And then the email is just like, depending, like you said, you got to read the person. If it's like a corporate thing and they have an email, I would definitely do an email, shoot an email and make it very professional. Like, hey, tried to call you, you didn't answer. That's not a professional email. You're going to start it like it's like the phone guy. This is Violett Talley. I was just trying to reach you in regards to blah, 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 blah. Thank you for consideration. Make it very professional. It's like, like applying for a job. So, but yeah, definitely phone is first for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got some old guys. They'll like write a letter out and send a letter in with their order.
Yeah.
It's funny. But it gets the job done.
Yeah, I still get checks mailed to me. I mean, it's okay. I mean, that's just how it is. You got to be open to that and don't think the person's ridiculous. Oh, they're ridiculous. They want me to write them a letter or what? No, that's just how it is. I mean, that's how they work. Some businesses base off that and it says something about you if you're willing to do communication that way as well, because that speaks about your character to that person.
Yep, absolutely.
It's like that thing you sent me today, Rob, basically about sponsorship. I don't want to do that.
Yep.
and I'm just paraphrasing, guy standing in front of his agent or whatever and says, he says, I don't want to do that. And the agent says, well, you signed the contract. Well, I don't want to do that. He goes, well, you're not going to be sponsored by them anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to meet them halfway.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, you want to plug any of your sponsors?
Yeah, actually, I'll plug one, especially lately. I've talked to her. One of my more forgotten ones, Trudy here with Espana Silk. I don't know if I talked to them about them before.
Yeah, he did.
Did I? Well,
yep.
I'm gonna do it again because she's
all right.
Trudy, yeah, she's been dealing. She's a one man, one woman shop, and she's been so wonderful. Like I think I said before, she's the only sponsor that I think very few products that can benefit the fishing industry. Although she's given me some great ideas, but yeah, she does hair care, lotions, bug spray, things like that. But it's all natural stuff, and it's truly like the best stuff I've ever used. And she opened it up to actually the equestrian market when I used to ride horses. She would do it it was all natural shampoos and stuff. It actually started with people, and she was in the hospital. She fell off of a horse and she couldn't walk, and she was in the hospital for a very long time, and she healed herself back to being able to walk again through her family. And her dad taught her how to fish and hunt. And she said that was like the best time she ever had was out fishing with her dad. But it was never like a professional thing. It was more like they actually ate the fish. It was kind of like food for the table. And she came from, very humble upbringing to a multi-million-dollar international company that she runs pretty much herself. And she's an amazing woman, business owner, and just the kindest person in the world. And she lives in Minnesota, and she drives through, and she still goes to trade shows with all of her products. She has a big truck, Ford truck, and she has a big horse trailer, and she fills it completely chock full with all her products and goes to every trade show, sets up a booth, just because she loves to greet people and share her product. She doesn't have to do it. She doesn't have to lay a finger on it. She can go on a Caribbean cruise every single day of her life with 20 of her friends and pay for it all. But she chooses to get on the road with her truck and trailer and do trade shows just because she loves people and she loves her product. And it's just the coolest person ever. I swear to God, I love this woman. And she sponsors me just because she says, I think it's so cool what you're doing. I'm a fan. I want to sponsor you. And I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do for you? I don't know what to do for you. She goes, don't do anything. Just do what you do. I was like, wow, that's awesome. But she sees a return on it, and she sees value, and she just sends me the greatest voicemails too. She says, I think your friendship's the greatest thing on earth, and you're a wonderful person. I'm like, can I just like fold you up and stick you in my pocket and like pull you out when I'm having a bad day, and then you could just say wonderful things to me and put you back? She's just the greatest person ever. One of these days, I'll have to get a photo of her, and I gotta do a little social media thing on her. I did one before, but she doesn't get enough attention. She needs more attention. She's just a wonderful person that's always in the background and never wants to be in the limelight, and just a cool person.
All positivity. That's great.
Oh, she's nonstop positivity. I'm just like, I just want to like take her with me everywhere I go. I mean, she's just fantastic.
She's your hype man.
Absolutely.
All right, Violetta. Well, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you guys again.
We appreciate it. I hope everybody got something out of it, even though there was a little bit of sarcasm from our guests and our hosts and all that. But no, we truly do appreciate you coming on.
No, and I appreciate you guys very much. You guys, this is a lot of fun. I really look forward to this.
We do too. We have a blast with you, and we always learn something. So we really appreciate you.
Good. I'm glad, guys. Thank you.
All right.
We're gonna let you go so you can get some work done.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Have a good day.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Oh, Barking Weaver says, keep doing awesome things, lady. You're holding down the future of the industry.
Absolutely. I'll give a second and amen to that.
Yep. So I want to try something a little different today.
Sure.
That thing I sent you and Al last night, I want to play that up. Something about a new product we have coming out. Some people know about it, some people don't. But I just wanted to put it in here and get people's feedback on it.
Sure.
You want to try it?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go.
I like it, man. Awesome job, man. That came out good.
Yeah, I see where I could. I got to slow it down a little bit.
Got to tweak it a little bit, but it's good.
Yeah.
I like it.
We're in the I'll call it the beta stage.
Yep. Testing stage.
Yeah. All right. Great show coming on again tomorrow night. Destin DeMarion. Jeremy, I don't know if you'd want to watch this one, but it's how to catch big smallmouth. And because I know you're not going to come up this far north anymore, but that's okay.
Hey, he come over to Del Hollow. Hey, Del Hollow's right across Tennessee, Kentucky. So there you go, man. Solved your problem right there. There you go, Jeremy. So you got to tune in now.
All right. So you guys take care. Have a good night, and hope to see you tomorrow.
All right, thanks, guys, and peace out.